Live each and every day, love and live your way. Do your very best, learn and lead today. Be the best you can, it's your life. Take a stand, so live your best life. Live your best life. Come on and live your best life with Dr. Julia Royston. Hello, I'm Dr. Julia Royston of Living Your Best Life. For I've come that you might have life and that you might have that life more abundantly to the full and overflowing. Living your best life. That's what we're here to do, to bring you inspiration, information, and empowerment. And most importantly, people who will help you, give you information to help you live your best life. My guest today is Miss Brittany Johnson, who is a licensed therapist. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So I've said your name and kind of your title, but go ahead and introduce us to you and what you do and kind of your historical background leading up to being a licensed therapist.
Awesome, of course. So, as you mentioned, my name is Brittany Johnson. I am a licensed mental health counselor or licensed therapist in the state of Indiana. My motto is I help people get out of their own way and live their best life. Primarily, I help people get out of their own way. So, kind of what I do, what that looks like, really depends on the person who's sitting in front of me. But I primarily specialize in working with adults who have anxiety and are trying to overcome childhood trauma and even acute, or what we call acute trauma, which is kind of your car accidents, bank robberies, things that happen to you as an adult that they're just kind of out of your control. And so history, as my family says, I've always been nosy, have never met a stranger. And so through some life experiences, and I really do believe through God, I have been pulled and called into this life of being a counselor and helping people kind of sort through things. So that's kind of how I got started, how it all happened. I can tell you stories about me being a kid and getting in trouble for getting on the city bus by myself.
Ooh-wee! Oh my goodness.
And when my mom asked me why I did it, I literally just wanted to get on the bus to meet people and hear their stories. And
Oh
so
wow.
I should have known then that this was going to be my calling. But of course, like many others, I went through some other life experiences. Went to school to be a pharmacist, then changed to school to be a nurse, and then ultimately had to take a psychology course as an elective, and the rest is history.
Oh yeah. You found your spot.
I did.
Home.
And it literally, like literally, I say this all the time. The moment I decided to go ahead and do what I was called to do, it has been an easy journey, not like, candy walk, but everything that it would normally be a roadblock for people, it's just like the sea has been parted, and I've been able to walk right into this, so to speak.
That walking in purpose, and I know we didn't have that on our agenda to really talk about today, but that walking in purpose does something. When you get it, people say, stay in your lane, stay in your lane. But once you get in your lane and you
Mhm.
find out what your gift is and you get in that zone, and it's like you can literally put the life pedal to the middle and
Yes.
really move forward, trying to
Yes.
live somebody else's life. And I mean, that's the reason why the show is Live Your Best Life, because trying to be something that you're not, trying to be, I mean, we can always learn to do so many things. We can
Oh
train
yeah.
ourselves and whatever. But when you get in that thing, that when you do what you do and how you do it, when you do it, it just feels like, just like breathing almost in and out. We don't sit up and think every day, oh, I've got to breathe so many times a minute, or I've got to breathe.
Right.
No,
Right.
it is
Right.
just a natural thing. And there's
Yes.
something about being in your purpose that actually does that. And I know a lot of people, even thinking about going to college, they're like, well, I don't know what I want to be. I don't really know which direction. That's okay. take a class. And after that class, you realize, that's not for me.
Right.
Or like you with psychology, and me, even after I had a degree in accounting, I'm like, nope, that's not me. But once I found myself in the library, I was like, oh, yeah, research,
Uh-huh.
this is me. Now, the other people, they were like, that's the most boring thing in the world. Me, it was like, yes, what's
Yeah.
something new every day? La, la, la,
Mhm.
la. But that's me and my personality.
Yes.
So that's one of the big things about living your best life. And that's one of the reasons why I've called this show Living Your Best Life. You, as the old folks say, you eat the meat and you spit out the bones. What doesn't apply to you, you share it with somebody else that it may apply to or may help somebody else. But get it all, take
Get
it
it?
all in and realize, oh, okay, that's not for me, but that's for somebody else. But this right here, will help me live my best life, not Julia's,
No.
not Brittany's, not
Right.
this is my best life. And there's
Yeah.
nothing like once you get in your zone, it's like, woo, I'm moving like a well-oiled machine.
I mean, just, simple. And what, even when I think about it, I know we'll, hope we'll get to it later, hopefully, but even the process of writing my book,
Yes.
I wrote the book in 30 days. And it was like, once it was there and I heard what I was supposed to be writing about, writing the book was simple. The hardest part was everything after for
Oh
me.
yeah. Oh
But
yeah.
but even with that, like, once I got connected to you,
Right.
even that became like
Thank
nothing.
you. Say thank
I
you.
mean, you made the process like seamless. It was like, send
Right.
it, here's what we do next, here's next.
Yeah.
And then it was just, that was it. And
But
so,
it's like, once you move, because I can't fix, I can't edit, I can't help you if
mhm,
you're not willing to say, all right, I don't have anything to edit, I don't have anything to work with unless you turn it over to me, and let's work
yes,
together and let's get it going. So it's like anything else, get in your lane. So everybody listening to this, get in
stay in
your
your lane.
lane, stay
Uh-huh.
in your lane, and don't let anybody get you out of it. It's
And
not
learn what happens when you step out of your lane. So I know for
exactly.
me, anytime I step out of what I'm supposed to be doing, my entire body reacts.
Oh wow, that's
Here come
interesting.
here comes anxiety, here comes tension, and I know then as soon as those things start showing up, that is my signal that, okay, I have stepped out of my lane. I'm worrying about something that I shouldn't be worrying about, and it's time to come back to where I need to be.
Wow. Now that's a strong nugget for a lot of people. Because, when you're actually doing something that, not those things out of the comfort zone, those people who want to a chicken out and say, this is something different. We're not talking about comfort zone and stretching. We're talking about walking in your purpose.
Yes.
You find the thing that you were born to do, that you would do even if no one paid you, that thing you can do in your sleep, that
Yes.
those writings, he's called you to speak, he's called you to do some incredible things that's different. Staying in your lane and doing something different is not
Mhm.
necessarily the same thing.
Right.
Sometimes it's, like, oh, I've never done this before. But when I actually tried it, it was like natural, like breathing. That's what I'm talking about. Not,
Yeah.
if somebody would say, okay, Julia, we're gonna send you to the moon, you're gonna be a rocket scientist, I'll be like, okay, that's not my lane, and that's not what I'm doing. They say,
Yeah.
oh, you're gonna perform brain surgery tomorrow. Nope, that's not
Hmm.
my lane, and that's what I do. Now, if they told me now, we want you to speak about writing or publishing or about books or something, I'm like, okay, I've never done that on that stage, but I have done it to 5 people. I have done it in front of 500. Okay, it's taking me to 5,000, 10. All right, I'll be scared, shaking in my shoes, but I'm actually going to, go for it. And that's taking me out of my comfort zone, not
Right.
out of my lane.
Yes.
There's a vast difference. And people say,
Definitely.
well, that's not really, I mean, I have never done that before. No, but it's just, it's like David in the Bible. He killed a lion and then he killed a bear. Then he was ready for Goliath. But, he had been in fights before. So,
Right.
that's just a wonderful thing. So keep going. No, don't get out of that.
No,
We're not
not
gonna
at
let
all.
you off the hook that easy. We're gonna
No, no,
talk
no,
about
no,
that
no.
getting out of your own way in just a second. So I wanted to insert right here first, even before we move on, the rise in the need for therapists and counselors. I think, you know, the need has come, of course, via tragedy and violence. We hate that, but it has come via that. But um, even after the rise in violence, now we have seen a comparable rise in therapists. So, in the last couple years or so, so have you seen more positive support for it? Even though there's been a demand, is that still pulling teeth for people to come to therapists, or are you seeing like a rush, like they're beating down your door?
There is a rush right now. Myself and several other therapists in this area alone are full, and people are begging and calling around trying to find somewhere to go because um, with the increase of things that have happened, also with the with, and this goes back to President Bush.
Uh-huh.
When one of the last things he did before he left office was he signed a bill that says mental health now needs to be equal to physical health on health insurance plans. So people started getting access through their health insurance to be able to go to therapy. And then when President Obama signed the Affordable Health Care Act, or introduced that, and that was signed, um, that made every company needs to now offer health insurance. Therefore, people were able to get mental health coverage as well. So that has sparked the increase of people seeking the services. And then also we've had an increase in everything, not just the violence and things like that, but the education around what's causing the violence has started to finally be put out there and not dumbed down, so people are able to see if these things are occurring in the home, then a person is more likely to become aggressive, more likely to be on drugs, more likely to be violent. Therefore, let's try to work on some more preventative things. So that has definitely increased people's willingness and need to go to therapy. I think a lot of people always knew they needed to go, but they didn't have access to it before. Because prior to some of these bills being passed, you had to have a certain amount of money to go to therapy. There wasn't, insurance companies were not covering it. And therapists, we have to live as well. So many therapists were charging, anywhere from 70 to $300 an hour. And if you are a working class or lower middle class individual, you don't have that kind of money laying around. So that's definitely what's caused the increase. And I think more people talking about it has definitely broke the stigma, to make it okay to go to therapy, because historically the only people who went to therapy were air quote crazy people,
Right.
and normal air quote again functioning people didn't go to therapy. But now we understand that therapy, anyone can benefit from therapy.
Yes.
And so we're definitely seeing an increase. We definitely are
Well,
seeing.
I'm really excited and to know that there are licensed, certified, skilled therapists of people of color.
Yes.
I realize that everybody needs to see the therapist that they need, and they need to be associated with the therapist that meets their need. And I know everyone does not. It's just like anything else. Sometimes you have to switch teachers. Sometimes you have to switch doctors and
Mm-hmm.
CPAs and everything else. You should continue to find the one you need. But I think culturally, we have not had therapists of color and females and males even, where people of color have felt really comfortable
Mm-hmm.
expressing themselves. And so, what part of culture or being able to identify with culture plays a part? I know it's a scientific study, you're trained, you're licensed, but what part does culture play at all in your therapy?
You mean in mind how I see clients, or just in general?
Yes, just knowing that, having not, I'm not talking about being prejudiced against them. I mean, you understand, you identify what that's like.
Yes.
If I came into your office, you're like, okay, that's a sister, that's a woman of color. We still, I'm older, so at 56, I still refer to people, and it was a sister, and it was a brother, you know.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, those types of things. I know that's kind of old fashioned, and some may still use it, and some may not. But it's knowing that there's half the battle being
Yes.
able, you see me. I'm
Yes.
a black woman. I'm black all day long. I'm not going to change my skin or anything like that. So therefore, when I see another sister in that type of position, that should hopefully give me a sense of comfort and more ease rather than being, well, I got to explain,
Yes.
all about the family dynamic, and I have to explain we were eating Thanksgiving and we had chitlins, and then I have to explain, you know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So,
Definitely.
you have to explain a lot of the innuendos that come. Sometimes that comes with generation, but does that make a difference? Does it
It
help?
does. It does make a difference. I just had this discussion a couple of weeks ago in a therapy group. There was a request that came in, and the person was looking for a Black clinician or an African American clinician. And several of the non-Black or white clinicians spoke up and was, expressed that they were offended by this request.
Sure.
And so I stepped in to explain that, unfortunately, as a Black woman, it I have to do extra steps to know that you can see me as a Black woman and that you're not going to be prejudiced towards me. And
Right.
that making a decision to go to therapy is hard in and of itself. And again, and not and wanting to see someone who will likely understand those microaggressions that we face as Black, people, um, makes it easier to not have to deal with that if I go to someone who's not Black.
Right.
And so explaining that takes away a huge part of the stigma and a huge part of building the relationship if I know I'm sitting across from someone who has likely had a similar experience to me
Hmm.
interacting with the world.
Right.
But
Right.
I also get a lot of non-Black clients who come to me for that exact same reason. It was eye-opening the first time I had a white client say to me, I chose you because, in my experience, Black people understand things differently than white people, and I wanted someone who would understand me and not judge me.
I love that. I mean, that, and being able to say certain things, and violence, and having to be better, do more. We
Hmm.
definitely understand that. We
Yes,
understand the whole dynamic and the whole. Woo, it is something. It's
it
something.
is.
Thank you for your service. I'm like the military. All right. Thank you for your service. We appreciate all that. We appreciate all that you do to help us and keep us going. So I wanted to get to your book. I definitely want to do that before we move forward. So tell us about your book, title, how they can get it, what it's about. No spoiler alerts, but give us the basics of what the book is about so they can get in touch with it and bring it into their life and change their life.
Definitely. So the book is called Get Out of Your Own Way: 21 Days to Stop Self Sabotage. And so the general gist of the book is we all have goals that we're trying to reach, whether they be personal or educational or financial. And there's always something that gets in our way. And when we clear out all the trees and all the mud and all the other stuff, we are left with it is something internally that stops us from reaching those goals. Yes, there are things that can get in your way is in terms of obstacles, but ultimately, when you clear it all out, it really boils down to there are things inside of you that stop yourself. And so the book goes into the top categories I've been able to identify through research with clients, myself, and just in general. So the three categories, and I won't give them away because I want you to read it and learn them, but there's three categories that we all tend to fall into, and then the book goes into helping you with how to identify which one you fall into, if it's one or all three, and then how to stop doing that. And then there's a nice 3-week plan to help you implement the things that you need to do to stop getting in your own way.
And then, of course,
And you
for
can
them to purchase the book. They go
Yes, to
where?
purchase the book, you can get the book on my website, which is brittanyjohnson.lmhc.com, and also on Amazon. And I will say, I don't know if this episode will air before the Black Friday weekend or not, but it will be on sale during that time. If it's not going to be aired, then you can still purchase it, and I will gladly appreciate it.
Spell your name, Brittany, so they'll know exactly the correct
Yes.
spelling.
BRITTANY Johnson, LMHC.com.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so the holidays we talked about, you mentioned Black Friday, the holidays are coming up. So
Yes.
help us get through. Some of
Oh,
us are going to need more help than others. And no, this is not a free therapy session for Julia Royston. This is for everybody, and Julia Royston's included. so we, so I wanted Brittany to come on and really talk about the holidays and just give us, um, just like three or four good tips to help us get through the holidays.
yeah.
You're off from work already and you think, woo, but sometimes I used to like, when am I going back to work? Because these holiday things just kind of rough on me.
Yeah.
so,
Yes.
so anyway, so just give us three or four tips to really kind of help us move emotionally and, you know,
Yeah.
through the holidays. We don't necessarily want to just have be inebriated the whole time, but
Right, right.
how we how we gonna manage it all?
So, right. So here's the thing. So for everybody, the holidays bring up a mixture of emotions. For some of us, it really is, joyous and we're happy and we're just energetic. But for some of us, it is super draining. We are sad because we miss our loved ones. We miss, different traditions that have come to pass. Or financially, we just feel like we can't participate. So there's a mixture of emotions. So, tip number one is going to be remember that everyone is having this same mixture of emotion. So, while you were remembering that everyone's having that same mixture, have compassion for yourself and others. And so, as you're interacting with family and you know that you're going to be, interacting with people, have that in mind when you walk into the setting that I may not be the only one feeling some kind of way.
Sure.
And so let me decide, do I need to act in anger or love towards this person, because I don't know what they're going through right before they got to the family event. Because while we're all close, as family and friends, we don't share everything.
Exactly.
And so that's one major tip. And then tip number two is to remember to do some deep breathing. So people always think that deep breathing is some fanny, false thing. But the reality is, when we have a flood of emotions, our brains start to close.
Mm.
And when your brain closes, you can't use problem solving skills, you can't use reasoning. Everything goes out the window. And so you want to keep your brain open by doing some nice breathing. So inhale for four, or count of four, exhale for a count of five, just so you can keep yourself regulated during these interactions that you're having with people.
Great.
And then my favorite tip is to go ahead and prepare for potential conflict.
Mm.
You know which family member is likely to say something that's going to set you off. You already know it. As much as we love our family, as much as we love our friends, we know that there's that one or two family members that just say things or do things, and
True.
they start to poke at you. So go ahead and get yourself ready, for that person is going to be themselves, because most people don't wake up and become a new person all at once.
No.
That takes time and work. So go ahead and prepare that cousin such and such, aunt such and such, uncle such and such, they are going to say the things that you know are going to get under your skin. So when you're preparing for it, you also get the chance to prepare to stay calm, because you know it's coming. So you don't have to have that knee jerk emotional reaction when you know it's coming. So that would be my top tips. And then also to practice some good self care when you get back home.
Yeah. So after the family reunion is over, take that long hot bubble bath
Yes.
and or schedule that massage and
Uh-huh.
the manicure and pedicure.
Yep.
Those are my two. That I'm gonna do that after the holiday. That is definitely for myself. So
And even if you are joyous about the holidays, there is a sense of sadness that comes for people in January when the holidays are over.
true.
We see an increase in clients coming to therapy in January. Some of it is because of the family conflict that showed up during the holidays, but a lot of it is people were so excited because it was the one time a year that they got to be around people and enjoy people, and now they're sad that it's time to go back to regular life.
Right.
And so
The
practicing,
winter time. Yeah, the
yeah,
wintertime blues
yeah,
thing. Okay, so number one, remember you're not the only one. There's
yes,
other people. Number two, deep breathing. And
mhm,
then we're going to breathe in, breathe out. Breathe
yes,
in, deep breathing. You may have to count to 10. You may have to count to 20 and 25. And then number three, be sure and have your escape plan. Have
yes,
a family member, have a friend. Okay, here they come, girl. You got me. And, you may have to have interception or someone to take it off, cut off everything in the past or, pass the sweet potato pie one more time and all those kind of things. And then be prepared for self care afterwards.
mhm,
So if that means you may have to, if you're in the air, and you're in the southern Indiana area, and you may have to schedule an appointment for some self care, not only just a massage, pedicure, manicure, but you might need to have an appointment with a therapist. So, oh my goodness, Miss Brittany, we could be on a lot more time, and I know you'll be back again. We'll have the opportunity for you to be back with us once again, but we appreciate you and thank you for your advice and tips for the holidays, whatever the holiday is that you're about to enter. Grief is a real place.
mhm.
Um, being these times of the year, the holidays is a real place for a lot of people. So love your family members, love on your friends, call those that you haven't spoken to in a long time. If you're off work, just pick up the phone and say, hi, I love you. Hi, I miss you. Hi, start laughing and probably turn into tears about some of the old memories that you have, but keep in touch with them. You never know what people are going through during the holidays, and we just want to make sure that we keep in touch with all our friends and our family. Now, Brittany, give us your contact information where they can follow you, reach out to you. Again, your website and social
Definitely.
media, all that good stuff.
So I try to keep things consistent. So on Facebook and Instagram, you can follow me at Brittany A. Johnson LMHC. That's BrittanyAJohnsonLMHC. And my website again is BrittanyAJohnsonLMHC.com.
Thank you so much. So,
Thank you for having
no
me.
problem, no problem. You'll be back again. I know, I know,
Oh,
I know.
oh, that's awesome. I'm ready.
Thank you again. I'm Dr. Julia Royston with Living Your Best Life, hoping you remember always, today, tomorrow, and always. Don't live my life, but live your best life. Live each and every day, love and live your way. Do your very best, learn and lead today. Be the best you can, it's your life. Take a stand, so live your best life. Live your best life. Come on and live your best life with Dr. Julia Royston.